Nazis dream of a 1,000-year Reich, but in truth they are already dead. The war machine shattered at Stalingrad, but the evil regime staggers on, desperate to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. A special battalion of SS troops scoured the globe for a supernatural means to win the war. They were led by the most dangerous man I ever met. Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List. It was he who destroyed my life and cost me my soul. Von List gathered experts from across the Reich. Archaeologists, explorers, historians, and authorities on the occult, like myself. We were forced to help them loot sacred antiquities, but none of the relics we found gave von List the power he craved. Then, something happened in Poland that changed everything. Another Nazi attempt to alter the course of the war somehow weakened the barrier between this world and the next, unleashing the forces of darkness. Many miles away, 5 of our artifacts suddenly awakened. Ancient spirits, demons if you will, beckon from these otherworldly relics, whispering a promise of power. And, of course, von List accepted.
Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List. To all troops of Kampfgruppe Die Wahrheit, you have my congratulations and sincere appreciation for what you have accomplished so far in Stalingrad. Exhumation of corpses continues on schedule. Our undead army will soon rise in earnest. On that glorious day, our march across Europe begins. We are transforming the site of our greatest military humiliation into the source of our ultimate victory. For the Third Reich, Stalingrad was not das Ende, not the end. It is der Anfang, the beginning. From here, our army der Toten will awaken. Marching from mass grave to mass grave, increasing their ranks, the fatherland's honored dead will once again fight for our shared destiny. And if you see old friends and comrades among them, remember, they will not be the men they once were, but their service continues. Their previous sacrifice no longer in vain. Just salute them and get out of their way. Our fallen will combine with their own to drive all our enemies into the sea. This is Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List, calling from Die Wahrheit Mobile Headquarters, supporting Army Group North. Transcribe and forward the following to the office of Heinrich Himmler, Berlin. Mein Reichsführer, we have experienced a rather dramatic development here in Leningrad. I will go into detail when we next meet. In brief, some artifacts we collected have yielded rather tangible results. I have experienced them personally. Suffice to say, I am a changed man. I must now take immediate action on behalf of the Reich. Be advised, we are deploying immediately to Stalingrad. I would wait for permission, but our situation is precarious and there is not a moment to lose. You know my devotion to the Reich is complete and unshakable. I do not take this action lightly, but I am now in possession of a military asset so radical in nature, it will turn the tide of the entire war. Again, details to come when the time is right. Until then, keep faith in me. Tell the Führer this is no cause for alarm, but rather for celebration. The Third Reich shall endure.
He now has the power to raise the dead, and they plan to take back everything the Nazis lost. All the troops he will ever require lie frozen in the mass graves of the Eastern Front. To stop his unholy army, they must find allies, or the 1,000-year Reich will consume us all.
Greetings. I am Professor Gabriel Kraft. I presume you came in response to my message. The one I radioed just before the containment spell went up. I had hoped for a larger fighting force, but I already see you are no ordinary soldiers. Perhaps you will be enough. But we have quite a challenge ahead. You see, our mission is to stop the man responsible for the nightmare unfolding all around you. The commanding officer of the SS Battalion Die Wahrheit. The murderer who has now bonded with an ancient evil, Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List. Left unchecked, he will single-handedly win the war for the Nazis. That may sound preposterous, but I assure you, it is true. In any case, thanks to the containment spell, we are cut off from the outside world. Unable to summon reinforcements, or further warn your superiors. Success or failure is solely up to us.
We are new to you, human. But your kind is not new to us. Nothing has been new in eons. Since time began, we of the Dark Ether have been at war. And none know the ways of warfare better than I. For this reason, the mightiest lord of the Dark Ether, Cortifex the Deathless, placed me in command of his armies. We launched the Nether Wars upon his rivals, and for a time, it seemed we would crush them. But Cortifex is a cruel master. Loyalty is something he neither feels nor inspires. As I watched his enemies unify into a joint resistance, I knew he could never truly succeed. When I joined them and we toppled his throne, Cortifex swore vengeance. He sees the human von List as the means to that end. There are those in the Dark Ether who would still support his return, but most would do anything to help us stop him here.
I never get tired of watching you. Humans, I mean. Humanity.
Lights out, asshole!
Always exploring, always building, always finding new and interesting ways to kill each other. My name is Belakar the Warlock. I wrote the histories of the Nether Wars. I was right there, on the battlefields of the Dark Ether. I've seen so many armies clash, the outcome decided by speed, deception, firepower, magic, the weather. But you humans find the most poetic ways to win, and stalemate, and completely lose the day. I cannot get enough of it. So if you and I are to chart a path to victory, don't be shy. Share your insights. Let me know what you're thinking. The more I understand your ways of war, the more I can help you. Secrets have their place in combat, but keep nothing from me. You would only be hurting yourself.
Listen closely, plaything. I know your kind better than the others. Better even than Belakar. I've played with you clever monkeys since you raised your first cities.
Don't get in my
And you
way.
never cease to surprise me. There are so many ways to have fun with you, so many paths to lead you down. Oh, I hope that doesn't scare you. It shouldn't when someone who's older than time says you're special. Pick up your chin and do what they say. My playthings only meet bad ends when they dig in their heels. They have notions of right and wrong, good and bad, made up nonsense that just gets in the way. The ones who played well with me became emperors and conquerors, and some were even peacemakers. You're lucky you met me, little mortal. Loosen up and everything will turn out just fine.
Special forces. Is that what you call yourselves? I don't see anything special about you. I am Invictor the Destroyer. I am a veteran of 1,000 battles on the wastelands of the Dark Ether. I witnessed the best trained soldiers falter on the field of battle. And I have seen half-starved mothers kill warriors twice their size to protect their young. You never know who is special until blood is spilled and backs are to the wall. It is said all combat is based on deception, but nothing reveals the truth like a fight to the death. So don't tell me who you are, human. Show me. Bathe in the blood of your enemies. Only then will I know you are not wasting my time.
Craft here. As you well know, this area is swarming with revenants. I just want to reassure you. I myself am quite safe for the moment. Since the day the artifacts awoke, Von List kept me by his side. After all, I'm as close as there is to an expert on the entity dwelling within him. When we arrived here in Stalingrad, it took the locals by surprise. The last thing they expected was the Nazis to return. But Von List had been here when the Germans surrendered. He wants to turn the site of their greatest loss into the source of Nazi victory. To do this, he will raise an army of revenants from the millions who perished on the Eastern Front. But to accomplish such a feat, Cortifex must first build up his strength. Von List locked me in this room with my books and the radio. I watched from my window as he called upon Cortifex to seal off this part of the city. And I knew I had to act. Once I radioed for help, I used what I learned from the Tome of Rituals. The rune magic in its pages sealed this room. Of course, I have no idea how to undo the spell, but for now, neither Von List nor his revenants can touch me here. Now that you have responded to my cry for help, we must work together. We must stall their progress and gather information on Devorheit's activities. I will continue to advise you while I formulate a plan to stop them once and for all. Till then, keep fighting, my champions. We must strengthen your demons if we have any hope of winning. Craft to Special Forces. You are just in time. Clear the blockades so we can take the fight to Von List. He wields the powers of Cortifex, ancient enemy of the demons you bonded with.
Eyes open, mind sharp. If we can rally support from the Dark Ether, it is worth the risk.
This is Craft, with some background on the artifacts you carry. They were used by ancient priests, sorcerers, in places as far-flung as the Yucatan and the islands of Japan. They were said to commune with angels and summon demons. But when we unearthed these artifacts, we were faced with a mystery. There were strange design details, markings, and materials that simply did not fit the cultures that claimed them. These objects were anomalies, anachronisms. They did not belong in those settings. They were alien. I have since confirmed the artifacts were created in the dark ether dimension. They were cast by inhuman hands, in forms meant to appeal to human aesthetics. Small wonder they got the details wrong. They allowed beings who could not come here physically to visit as spirits and bond with mortal flesh. Some, like Cortifex, were cruel, controlling. Others, like Bellica, were kind, benevolent. Alas, these relics became their prisons. Each demon is now trapped like the proverbial genie in a lamp. Safeguard your artifacts. Study them. Learn to unlock their powers. Just don't try to sense them. Any appraiser versus souls would dismiss them as forgeries. And in a sense, they would be right.
How did it come to this? I was once
You
General
can take my
Nauticus,
target.
Supreme Commander of the Night
No
Legions.
vote goes unpunished.
Nauticus, a conqueror. Your tiny mind cannot comprehend what that means. But my adversaries in the dark ether would throw down their weapons and beg for mercy at the mere mention of my name. Mercy. I had no mercy. Just a string of victories that stretched back to the dawn of time. And now, I am shackled to a pathetic bag of blood whose lifespan is as brief as it is meaningless. Oh, how I have fallen. But I have fought my way out of bleaker circumstance. And you are currently the only weapon at my disposal, so you will have to do. I will hone your skills, human. I will make you unstoppable. But only if you heed my commands. I save your world. You get me back to mine.
That floating orb will find a weak spot between dimensions. Stay close. We will protect each other.
It carries a message in the dark ether. Make sure it gets back.
Watch the body!
Even if you succeed, help.
Making good progress. Take aim and hold nothing back.
Masters in photography class were never like this!
Keep sending your orbs. I welcome more chances to kill you.
This time, help will come. I know it.
Bellica, I hope we know what we are doing.
These messages you've been sending to the dark ether. The orbs. Who exactly do you expect to answer your call? Because I doubt anyone back home can be bothered to join our struggle here.
With respect, Invictor, We were not the only ones who took an interest in this world.
Perhaps. But when the others realized they could not come here in the flesh, that there was nothing material to be gained, they took interest in other things.
Now there is something here they can have. Vengeance. Cortifex the Deathless made a lot of enemies.
Yes, Warlock. And they were once united against Cortifex. But by now, they are surely back to battling each other.
This will not happen all at once. Destroy. First, they must make contact. Then, we must help them fashion artifacts to bind them to this plane. Perhaps the Nether Wars rage once more in the dark ether. But the head of Cortifex is too great a prize to resist. Someone will answer my cause. I know it.
Can you hear me, Professor? Of course you can. What else is there for you to do than sit at your radio and pray for salvation? I should have sent you to the camps when we first met. It makes my skin crawl to even breathe the same air you do. You were my greatest mistake. But one I can still correct. So go on. Play your games. Do your worst. Those soldiers who are helping you are braver, finer people than you could ever be. And still they will die like dogs. One by one. And as they do, I should savor the pain it brings to that soft, degenerate heart of yours. Oh yes, Professor. I will make sure you die last. The world I usher in will have no place for your kind. Only the strong, the pure. A world cleansed by fire will suit me quite well. You are but the kindling.
Craft to Special Forces team. We should talk about the entities you bonded with. You must have so many questions. Fortunately, I taught demonology at the University of Leipzig. Ha. I have more than a passing familiarity with your otherworldly partners. Since 1939, I was forced to work for Von List on his Die Wahrheit thugs. I helped them recover 5 ancient artifacts. As it turned out, these were conduits to supernatural beings from a place called the Dark Ether. The most powerful among them, Cortifex the Deathless, is in league with Oberfuhrer von List. The demons inhabiting you are his sworn enemies. I shall do all I can to help you take advantage of their gifts without being corrupted by their influence. Then again, this is a time for uneasy alliances. Who would ever have imagined Churchill and Stalin joining forces? Better the devil you know, as they say. So, for now, we work towards a common purpose with your demons. They need to stop Cortifex. We need to stop Von List. Win or lose, we must do this together. Come see me. I am in the building to the left of the theater. Is that understood? Over.
Yeah, I get it. Just keep it down.
Tire of your meddling. Time for you to die.
Out like a candle.
As you can see, you will have to clear one more barrier to enter. My allies, I see an opportunity to hit von List. There it counts.
Step through, humans. Blood and glory await.
This is Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List, commanding officer of SS Battalion Die Wahrheit. I am broadcasting on an open channel to the soldiers assisting Professor Gabriel Kraft. I am not sure why you answered his cry for help. Surely you know by now if you continue to oppose me, I will eventually kill you all. But it does not have to end that way. I am asking you to reconsider your mission. It simply makes no sense. The man you are helping is hardly a man at all. He is a traitor who cannot be trusted. He once served Die Wahrheit. Do you know this? It was he who made possible my union with Court FX the Deathless. There would be nothing for you to battle here. Had that little demonologist not lent me his expertise, this is really all his fault, if you must point the finger. And now he expects you to risk your lives just to undo his mistakes? This is the very definition of a fool's errand. But you can still withdraw. Stop helping Kraft, and I will allow your retreat. Continue aiding him, but you will all die horribly. And after that, you will take your place in my army of the dead.
It was curiosity that first led me to your kind. I see something new, and I want to know more. And you humans are never not intriguing. I've had many friends and hosts among your kind. The ones who understood me best were the Maya of the Yucatan. They wrote, they studied, they sacrificed, and they made war. All with a clarity of purpose that drew me to them irresistibly. I was there throughout their rise and fall. I tried in vain to teach them rune magic. Alas, none was prepared for everything I offered. I have watched your nations and cultures come and go ever since. I always look for signs that they are heading for collapse. But I have never seen anything like this current conflict. This Second World War is the most consequential event in the brief history of humanity. The outcome of this war will be decided by you, my pupils, right here. And if you accept my counsel, I can help you avoid disaster.
Oberfuhrer von List to all Die Wahrheit personnel across all theaters of special operations. As of now, I am altering our timetable, reducing the time allotted by half. Yes, I know this is drastic, but I have always asked much of you, and you have always delivered. We set out together to scour the globe. We sought objects of power no one believed existed, to turn the tide of a war no one believed could be won. And yet, here we are, harnessing forces beyond mortal ken, perched on the precipice of the greatest advancement in the history of human warfare. Our enemy now is not that ragged band of soldiers delivering mere paper cuts on the orders of the traitor Kraft. No, our enemy is time itself. Even now, the so-called allies are gathering an invasion force to retake Europe. This we cannot allow. The army of the 1,000-year Reich must rise completely to secure what is rightly ours. Until then, redouble your efforts. And be careful. Kraft's commandos strike everywhere we work. Take appropriate precautions and stay on task. The future of the Reich depends on you.
Weaken the Oberführer's army. Kill every revenant you see.
I'll keep you there until my strength gives out.
Come looking for a fight? You will get one.
Insta-kill.
The advantage is yours.
Think you've won something? Only my undying hatred.
That will do, mortals. That will do.
You struck a blow, and I know von List felt it. It is what he deserves.
Wolfram, you remind me of someone I knew long ago. He was a pharaoh in the land of the Nile. He saw himself as a god, and everyone around him as vermin. In fact, he was delightfully cruel. But you, Oberführer Wolfram von List, are a rare and special find. You have the blackest heart I have ever encountered in a human. You might have been royalty where I come from, had you not been born on this pathetic ball of dust. I tell you this not to flatter you, but because I expect the world from you, and you will deliver it unto me. This power I grant you is not something I would share with just anyone. But I am willing to see your dreams fulfilled and your enemies crushed. For you are a worthy vessel. You are the instrument of my revenge. I have consorted with many humans over the centuries, but few left a lasting impression. It is difficult to remember their faces, much less their names. But one in particular stands out. Lucien Poiret, an architect, Freemason, he called himself. Quite clever for someone so short-lived. He was a senior member of the Société Occulte, a group in contact with my kind since your Middle Ages. They understood us well enough to write their own spellbook, based on dark ether rune magic. You know it as the Tome Calcian designed what will become their mystic fortress. He erected the Hotel Royal above the catacombs that run beneath Paris. Underground tunnels lined with bodies, laid out in a rune magic pattern to create a dimensional nexus. It is no mistake that Cortifex sealed off the hotel's rooftop to further Von List's plans. If we cannot stop his undead army from rising in earnest, the Hotel Royal will become a rallying point. A place of power to ensure our enemy prevails.
You seem unsettled, Wolfram. I sense something weighing on your mind, distracting you from our current efforts.
I am not distracted, Cortifex. I am simply under pressure to produce results.
I told you it would take time before I could raise your entire army. Oh, why are mortals so impatient?
Perhaps because we do not have thousands of years to see plans to fruition. We are mortal, after all. But my concerns are specific. Right now, the Allies are amassing troops in the British Isles. I need to mobilize before they launch an invasion across the English Channel.
Then I suggest divide completes your instructions. Only then can I raise your army of millions.
I look forward to the day, Cortifex. When our enemies make landfall in Calais, I want the undead there to greet them on the beaches.
Outstanding work. Keep at it until this battleground is open. Remember, my allies, the Altar of Covenants updates what it sells.
Victory never comes cheap.
If it's trouble you want, I'll give you more than you can handle.
Rise, revenants! Destroy the intruders! You test my patience, mortals. Now see the price!
Come on, people! Try to keep up with me! You look better with no face!
Max ammo.
Boss, this is nectar to you. Not so much.
Cortifex can now multiply his revenants using dark ether siphon cores.
They are growing their army of death.
I have consorted with many humans over the centuries, but few left a lasting impression. It is difficult to remember their faces, much less their names. But one in particular stands out. Lucien Poiret, an architect, Freemason, he called himself. Quite clever for someone so short-lived. He was a senior member of the Societe Occult, a group in contact with my kind since your Middle Ages. They understood us well enough to write their own spell book, based on dark ether rune magic. You know it as the Tome of Rituals. They always changed their meeting sites to maintain secrecy, until Lucien designed what would become their mystic fortress. He erected the Hotel Royal above the catacombs that run beneath Paris. Underground tunnels lined with bodies, laid out in a rune magic pattern to create a dimensional nexus. It is no mistake that Cortifex sealed off the hotel's rooftop to further Von List's plans. If we cannot stop his undead army from rising in earnest, the Hotel Royal will become a rallying point, a place of power to ensure our enemy prevails.
That farm with the windmill, the one in Merville, France, doesn't look very important, does it, Cortifex?
To me, Wolfram, nothing about your world looks particularly important. Earth is just a stepping stone to my eventual triumph back in the dark ether. I help you here, you help me get back. The rest is just details.
Fair enough. But do you know what transpired near that windmill during our last global conflict? The Great War, we called it. The war to end all wars. Such optimism.
Is there a point to this, Wolfram?
Indeed there is. The First World War pitted outmoded tactics against unprecedented weaponry. In just one day at that farm, 10,000 men fell as they marched in ranks directly into machine gun fire.
That explains it. So much blood spilled all at once. It left its mark on the veil that separates us from the dark ether.
Precisely. The weak spot we are trying to exploit.
And the dead who fell that day. All those thousands of corpses.
They are buried nearby.
Oh, not for long.
The ceremony is brief. Disrupt it until their time runs out.
I'll paint the walls with
I
their
hope
brains.
I would never see something again. They gather at excitement. You know what to do.
Scheiße! Have you no mana?
I hear a boom, Briar. Shoot before it blows up in your face.
You knew how that had to end. Enough of you!
They are on the stop them.
Not exactly the strongest.
holding them off. They are running out of time. Seedlings.
It seems Von List must wait even longer for his undead army.
It seems I choose my allies more wisely than Cortifex.
Cortifex, are you there?
Always, Wolfram.
I need you to be honest with me. How much support do you really have back in the dark ether? I do not expect them all to match your power, or even come close. But more help is needed to reach our goals.
I still have supporters. More than enough, Wolfram. Just do your part here. I will ensure your success.
If only it were that easy. Kraft and his new allies are setting back the Wahrheit's timetable.
And I shall help you eradicate those pests. But you need to have faith in our partnership. You are my other half now. Only if you succeed do I get what I want. Remember that. Our goals are intertwined. Your success is my success. That is all the reassurance you should need.
General Nauticus, once known as the Conqueror, now forced to rub shoulders with a lowly grunt like me. Invictor, I have nothing against grunts. I was always well liked by my soldiers. Oh, General, you most certainly were not respected. Yes, but liked. Fair point. You, they liked. The Destroyer, always in the thick of the fight. Me, they followed. By the thousands, yet fighting as one. Because with me in command, they knew they would win. The Norsemen over here sensed this about me. They looked up to me. Revered me, in fact. Father of the Frost Giants. That is what they called me. Mighty warriors, the Norse. You would have liked them. Perhaps. The way one is fond of a warhound. But yes, I have enjoyed the company of human soldiers in the past. The Greeks in particular. I helped them lay siege to a city called Troy, bonded with one of their warriors named Achilles. He used to call me Ares. The lad was a decent enough warrior to begin with. But after I was through with him, he was a legend. Do you see an Achilles in our current cohort? Because I am not so sure. They will do, Nauticus. They will have to.
Starting to feel some elbow room out there, aren't you?
Sacrifices are rewarded here.
Crazy little shit! The 1000-year Reich ends here!
Max ammo.
Our cup runneth over. Our strength is yours.
Arschloch! This isn't over! You're done! My wounds will heal, not yours, Wiedergänger! Right in the eye! Ouch!
Feeling sluggish? Cortifex's magic steals your demon's power.
Fight hard, human! I really need this.
Oberfuhrer von List, to all die Wahrheit personnel operating in Merville, France, in Paris, and in the swamp known to locals as Shinonoma. First, your service is exemplary. The dimensional weak spot at the windmill site is already receiving vital support from the dark ether. The archaeological dig at Shinonoma is yielding important insights about the entities aiding the enemy, and preparations atop the Hotel Royal will ensure that all of Paris will soon experience a very different sort of nightlife. Be advised that another area of operations is underway. You may hear radio traffic from our unit in the eastern desert of Egypt. Theirs is a mission vital to protecting our most valuable ally, Herr Cortifex. Requests from this task force get top priority. So far, Kraft's little band of guerrillas have not targeted that operation, and I intend to keep it that way. Continue with your duties, my loyal soldiers. Soon the whole world will be at our feet. Oberfuhrer von List to all die Wahrheit personnel across all theaters of special operations. As of now, I am altering our timetable, reducing the time allotted by half. Yes, I know this is drastic, but I have always asked much of you, and you have always delivered. We set out together to scour the globe. We sought objects of power no one believed existed. To turn the tide of a war no one believed could be won. And yet, here we are. Harnessing forces beyond mortal ken. Perched on the precipice of the greatest advancement in the history of human warfare. Our enemy now is not that ragged band of soldiers delivering mere paper cuts on the orders of the traitor Kraft. No. Our enemy is time itself. Even now, the so-called allies are gathering an invasion force to retake Europe. This we cannot allow. The army of the 1,000-year Reich must rise completely to secure what is rightly ours. Until then, redouble your efforts. But be careful. Kraft's commandos strike everywhere we work. Take appropriate precautions and stay on task. The future of the Reich depends on you.
Syraxis likes to claim she discovered your world. But there were many of us who took an interest. She saw you merely as new toys.
I do the hit.
Court effects. I have never fully fathomed, but I assume he saw new lands to plunder. He ordered Nauticus to study you for conquest. Nauticus ordered me to learn your ways of war. And Belikar, curiosity is our lifeblood. We each had our favorite mortals to visit. For me, the Greeks. For Cortex, the Egyptians. We were seen as patron spirits, angels, demons.
That made me see stars.
Syraxis did have the idea to make artifacts that could bond us to mortals, but it took Belikar's cunning to actually make it work. Even then, we each had to craft our own. We tried to make them fit the cultures we wanted to visit.
I care not where bullets come from.
None of us got it quite right. I was probably closest with my sword, but swords I understand. Court effects. Court effects just didn't care.
Damn near shredded my jacket.
2 pyramids on a stick. How long did that take him? We cast our artifacts through the veil. Our friends picked them up. And suddenly we were truly with them. We had such adventures in those days.
Don't these crowds
Another
ever
time.
cut their nails?
If only we had realized sooner that in creating the artifacts, we had made a rod for our own backs.
Kraft here. I've noticed that Cortifex's magic is slowly draining your demon's energies.
You can restore us by gathering runestones and putting them in the Sin-Eater obelisk.
Rise, revenants. They are taking power that belongs to me.
I hate those guys. Route me! Now you're sorry!
Full power.
Didn't know how empty I felt until I was restored.
We look out for each other. That is why we'll win.
Tell me, Cortifex, what do you remember of the men and women who used to summon you to the Hotel Royale?
Is that how they put it? They summoned me? Such gall.
The members of the Society Occult were the wealthiest, most powerful people in Europe. Puppet masters of the Western world. They also dabbled in dark magic. Their seances and rituals at the Hotel Royale were the stuff of legend.
They were children playing with fire, and if I answered their call, it was only out of boredom. After all, I was trapped in my scepter. If some red-blood fool contacted me with their crystal ball, at least it gave me a glimpse of how far humans had come. And for all the progress they thought they made, for all their riches and influence, the Society Occult were tampering with forces beyond their understanding. The one thing that impressed me was their spellbook, the tome of rituals, dark ether rune magic written by humans. But they could not have written it without help.
True. Over the centuries, they summoned others of your kind. And one of them, most likely Belekar, gave those children all the matches they needed to burn their world to cinders.
Kitsune! Do you know that word? I picked it up a few centuries back when I spent time in Japan. It means fox, but it also referred to a sort of trickster spirit. They were said to bond with humans, inhabit them, possess them. This was called Kitsunetsuki. Such a lovely language. It meant the fox was within you, controlling you, affecting your mind. So guess what more than a few humans used to call me? Some even offered themselves for my Kitsunetsuki. I salute the Japanese for their fearlessness, because that's what you have to be to bond with me. Fearless. Soldiers, servants, holy men, lords and ladies. I hooked up with anyone who was willing to take me for a ride. And what a time we had! The party lasted from the Heian period well into the Edo period, but it all came to an unpleasant end when, well, the less said about that, the better.
Oh, my allies! You have come such a long way since you first arrived in Stalingrad. Come in! Come in!
Someday, I will read that book myself.
Into my knapsack you go.
Be careful, my allies. Do not enter it unless truly prepared. Am I clear?
I guess I have been volunteered. I took the weight off your shoulders.
Strength for what lies ahead.
Well, I definitely feel something.
Drink deep, my pupil.
Good luck, my friends. I fear you will need it.
I sense worlds overlapping. The veil is thin in there.
Cortifex, do you know why I chose Stalingrad as the epicenter of my operations? I mean, beyond all the corpses, the mass graves.
Right on target.
Do you know why this choice is personal for me?
We share much now, Wolfram, but I cannot read your thoughts, nor can I search your memories.
Nor would I allow you to. This arrangement of ours is intimate enough as it is.
Agreed. But as long as we serve each other's purposes, you may as well tell me what happened here.
What happened here is the German 6th Army took the city and was then surrounded and trapped for 5 months.
And you were part of this 6th Army?
No. I led an SS rescue mission here. We all knew we could not afford to lose those men. The death toll was already horrific by the time we arrived. I spent the rest of that brutal winter adding to the Russian casualties. We tried to resupply our men. We tried to break the siege. All in vain. At the end, General Paulus surrendered. Most of his men were never seen again. I had witnessed a death blow against the Wehrmacht. I could see the war was lost. But when I made my way back to headquarters, no one wanted to hear my report or face the awful truth.
So, this place, it scarred you. And victory here will make you whole.
9 Cortifex. Such scars do not fade. If I have learned anything, it is that war changes everything. There is no going back, but I will still savor my ultimate revenge.
I don't know how many of your centuries ago it happened, but I remember when we first became aware of your world. Before that, we thought the dark ether was, well, everything. Then one day, strange items began to appear in my realm. I speak of things like that pack-a-punch device and the box that spits out guns. They caused quite an uproar among my kind. How did they work? Where did they come from? And what kind of trouble could I stir up over there? I spent several of your lifetimes just catching glimpses through the dimensional veil. I watched you silly things discover agriculture and start to trade routes, sow the bases. So the mechanisms that landed in the dark ether must have come from your future. Don't ask me how. I was too busy playing with your ancestors to care. At first, I got them to see me in campfires, then in pools of water.
Headshot. Works like a charm.
Later, it was mirrors and then crystal balls. The more civilized you became, the more refined the lens through which we spoke. But there was no crossing over, no visiting in the flesh. So I looked for a way to deepen my contact and my control. I needed an anchor in your reality. A trans-dimensional link so we could really connect. And that's when it hit me. That's when I had the idea for what you now call the artifacts.
Monica, we seem to be losing them.
I don't recall inviting you.
Smite them and fill your
See what happens when you come at me? Step back, all of you! Watch the body!
spend it wisely.
Give them more of your power, Cortex.
There is no penetrating that void spell. Not with our current weapons.
Not one step closer! I never want to hear that sound again! Out like a candle! Wiedergänger!
On a moment's respite.
Not me, Wiedergänger! Not me! You're done! Being a brute fire is its own special punishment. Right back at you, monster!
Use the portal to escape. There is nothing there for you but growing danger.
Once I am free, you will all feed the beast.
I'm so glad to see you alive. That encounter was, well, intense is an understatement. We must discuss what you just experienced. The things you saw. That smell rage. The energy. Come see me.
Once again, it calls to me.
Apologies for not greeting you face to face, but you may recall I am magically sealed in here by a page from the Tome of Rituals. You've seen the tome by now out there on its rather unusual pedestal. Perhaps you've explored how it can further empower your demonic partner. During my servitude to the Wahrheit, I tracked the tome's scattered pages around the world. The book out there is what we managed to restore. But some pages are still loose. You just saw them, secured by those magic anchors.
What I sensed as a void was no ordinary spell. Von List and Cortifax clearly don't want us to get it.
Which means that page may be the key to defeating Von List.
Then we must go back at once, and this time fight harder.
And what do you propose, Nauticus? How will the Conqueror overcome the fact that mortal flesh is weak?
If you think so little of them, Syraxis, why do you crave their attention so much?
Stop it! Bickering gets us nowhere. Just give me some time to think this over. Go clear more obstacles, my allies. I will find a way to obtain that tome page.
Soldiers of Nauticus, let us discuss our tactical dilemma in private. I have placed a speaking stone in what you call the apartments. Go find it. You may have to clear obstructions to get there. Understood?
More homework? I'll make the walls with their brains!
You're here. Good. At least you can follow orders.
Oh, don't flatter yourself, Nauticus. No one saluted you since Cortifex stripped you of command.
Let the Conqueror speak. I want to hear how he intends to shield these humans from certain death. As a matter of fact, Victor, a shield is exactly what I propose. It would have to be stronger than anything a mortal forge can produce, even in this age.
I believe Nauticus speaks of another shield. One you may remember from your service in Cortifex's armies.
Oh, you mean that commander of the Night Legions, don't you? What What was his name again?
His name is forgotten. Cortifex saw to that as part of his punishment. But his shield is still somewhere in the dark ether. Finding and awakening it may require more power than the four of us combined.
This is Kraft. Something unexpected has occurred here. Return to my office at once.
Müller is on the job.
But really into the portal soon.
Hey! Act to yourself!
You see it, yes? Yet another new portal has appeared. Nauticus, did any of you summon it?
No, Professor. But it appears to lead somewhere outside the barrier spell, trapping us here.
I think I may know what this is. We have sent many messages to the dark ether requesting help.
Has someone finally answered?
Not just someone, Invictor. Can you feel her? Faint, but definitely her.
Who are you talking about? With whom have we made contact?
Verkana the last. All is well, Gabriel. She will come as a friend.
I can't believe, of all our brethren on the other side, she would decide to help us.
Well, she always did keep to herself. But who among us has more reason to hate Cortifex? Her entire clan, hunted down by his assassins. Their sacred forests, reduced to ash. She still needs to complete her artifact, or she would have joined us by now. All we can do is wait.
She is trying to tell us something with this portal. The desert that lies beyond must be our next front in the war against Cortifex. But only with Verkana's help can we pass through that portal and proceed with the plan Nauticus proposed.
And then von List is in for a rude surprise. Let's get back to work, my allies. I will alert you once our new friend arrives. Yes?
Müller here. I know what to do.
Mrs. Kraft, I want to talk about dark ether runes. Those little symbols you see all around you. I first saw them on loose pages from the Tome of Rituals that I tracked down for the Wahrheit. Then, we found them inscribed at all the sites where we found the dark ether artifacts. I could see they fit no known human alphabet, but some of my colleagues attributed them to the ancient Aryans. Their reasons were obvious. Von List answers to Reichsführer SS Heinrich Himmler, whose belief in German superiority is the core of the Nazis' poisonous ideology. Himmler wanted the Wahrheit to find evidence the Aryan race invented the hallmarks of civilization, including written language. But kissing Himmler's backside would not change the facts. These runes were not Aryan. They were, however, used in mystical rites as far back as Egypt's 4th dynasty, as recently as the 1920s. Belakar has since explained to me that they are the basis for dark ether rune magic. She is endeavoring to teach me their use. But I fear I have been a poor pupil. Some runes are associated with specific demons, like Cortifex or Saraxis. Others, well, I suppose that remains to be seen. Gabriel Croft to Special Forces. By now you know the dark ether entities dwelling within you have visited our world before. Those who could perceive them have mistaken them for ghosts, deities, even angels. My own description of them as demons owes more to my academic background than to any belief they are infernal in origin. But we all see the world through our own lens. One can hardly blame a Viking for seeing Nauticus as a frost giant, or the ancient Greeks for thinking Invicta was the war god Ares. My point is that our own biases color how we see them. You hear demon and you think evil. The truth is much more nuanced. These are immortal beings from another universe, as capable of benevolence as they are of doing harm. In short, they do not share our sense of right and wrong. So never forget, these are not demons in some biblical sense of the word. They are your partners. Their hatred of Cortifex assures that our goals are aligned. Craft here. I have been thinking about something that happened when the artifacts awakened. Von List bonded with Cortifex. One of the first things he did was to gather all the pages from the Tome of Rituals that led us to the Scepter of Cortifex and locked them away in his office. I stayed out of his way. Frankly, I was terrified. The man was already dangerous. But now, there was a light in those pale blue eyes that... well, you get the idea. But in hiding the origins of the scepter, Von List raised some troubling questions. Was there some vulnerability mentioned in those pages? Some threat to his plans? I was not on the expedition that recovered the scepter. All I know is it was found in Egypt's eastern desert, far from the great cities of antiquity. I heard there was a temple to Osiris there, long forgotten and not mentioned in ancient records. I suspect those pages may provide a breakthrough for our little resistance movement. There must be some reason Von List hid them. Just something to keep in mind as we search for a way to stop the Wahrheit before the worst can come to pass.